YouTube? How we doing? Past the prop back here yet again. We got NFL Future Show today. We're going to be talking about our favorite long shot bets. Obviously, talking about season long bets. A lot of future stuff today. I know tomorrow is what? That's going to be Thursday and Friday night showdown slate stuff. Then we'll go down to what is Friday is just our regular Monday bets. But 4 days in a row, Past Rob coming at you. We're going to be exclusively here on YouTube from now on. So I'm excited to break it down with you, Stu. How you been? Obviously, I saw you yesterday, did the draft. So I'm assuming not much has changed.
Yeah, you're right. Not much has changed. Well, I mean, I did make an announcement over on Twitter. I posted my Substack, so that's going on. That's new. I'll be posting all my NFL picks over on Substack, as well as I know you have a little Telegram channel, so I'm also opening up a little Telegram channel. If people prefer that to the emails, just DM me if you want in on that, because I get it. The emails can be a little annoying. Telegram is pretty easy as well. So I'm excited. Obviously posted a couple futures over there. I've started writing up my first props for the week. Obviously we're going to talk about that pretty soon on the show. So this will pretty much be the only place my plays will be other than Substack. I'm going to post them in there first, obviously. I know you kind of do a similar thing, then hop on the show and we're going to talk about it. So excited, kind of same format as last year, except no more 4 for 4. It's just me. So I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. And yeah, we got futures to talk about today. I'm pumped.
Yeah, no, we already kind of talked a little bit about what we're rolling with. Obviously, you guys know we don't talk about the stuff until we get here. So interesting. We are very similar. I feel like in a lot of the ways we're thinking about stuff. But like I said, when you're 4 years in, I feel like we kind of have same mindset, same thoughts on a lot of these as we're going forward here. So anything you want to talk about from yesterday, or you want to just get right into kind of talking about the season as a whole here?
Yeah, I mean, we can jump into it whenever, but yeah, I agree. I'm glad to hear we did briefly talk. We're on the same page, and I like this. We come from different angles. You know what I mean? I feel like we look at different things. Like it's good to then be on the same page after. Obviously, we if you've been watching, we argue as well. We're not afraid of that. Obviously, we have different opinions. We'll feel free to share it. But yeah, I feel like some of the teams that we both like, the Seahawks, we talked about it a little bit already. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Like, yeah, I like that we're on the same page, and I'm excited to dive into. We got a long season ahead of us, obviously. Make sure not to go too crazy before the season starts. Week 1 is exciting. It's probably the best of the year, but like that doesn't mean you got to spend your whole bankroll either. So that's my little warning before we get into it too much.
Yeah, I'm usually very pulled back on a lot of these, where we kind of figure out what we're doing. Obviously, futures are a little different just because I don't really play too many like straight futures, like even money futures. So obviously, we can go a little longer on those and do a little bit of long shots there. But excited to break it down with you and hopefully win some money today or win some money over the year here. So let's kind of talk overview here before we get into any bets. I know I've already mentioned a little bit about Seattle yesterday. Is there any other teams that you're kind of feeling a little bit is going under the radar for you? Obviously not our Packers or Washington. I feel like both those teams are kind of getting their love now, but any team that you specifically want to kind of talk about that you might be, targeting for props, targeting for futures, etc.
Yeah, I mean, out of the ones that aren't bets that we'll talk about here in a second, I think the Bengals are a team I like. Obviously, the AFC is like, it's tricky because when you look at the MVP odds, right? You see Josh Allen, you see Lamar Jackson, you see Patrick Mahomes. And it's scary because if you're betting on someone in the AFC, you got to go through that gauntlet. You know what I mean? You got to take down one of these kings, So personally, I actually kind of like some of these like Broncos, these Chargers kind of teams, right? What they're building. I think the West out there is going to be a little bit dangerous. But when I look at who can actually give these teams like a real challenge, who can actually beat them in the playoffs when it matters the most, I mean, Joe Burrow is the only guy that's shown that he can do that. He has done it before. He has ran through most of the gauntlet before with success. So when you're looking at Herbert, who I love, when you're looking at young defensive teams like the Broncos or whatever, it's like, sure, I see the upside here, but I don't see a proven track record. I don't see someone that's already kind of shown that they can stand with the best and compete right there. And the tricky part about the Bengals is their defense was like the worst in the league last year. It's probably going to be bad this year. If they can get it to like league average, that would be a win. Obviously, finally getting their contract stuff sorted out at the end of the year was a good sign. Everyone's going to be back. But at the end of the day, like when it comes to regular season, I think the Bengals are kind of fairly priced. But when you look at like to win the Super Bowl markets or even to win the AFC, I mean, I think they can compete in the playoffs. It's going to be a tough road, no doubt about it. But I think this is a team that can clearly, stand and actually pull off one of those upsets. Because imagine the Texans sneak in or the Jags sneak in. No one's going to be – those guys are going to be touchdown plus underdogs in those games. They don't have real playoff upside. If you get Joe Burrow, sneak him in the playoffs some way or another, Aaron Rodgers at his old age, like – Burrow can win you these games. So I think that's a team that, like, I get the defense is bad. It truly is. But their offense can stand with anyone in the league. And I think when it comes to important moments, when you got a guy that's been there and done that, had some injury stuff, but I think this is kind of a solid year to back the Bengals. I keep, finding myself drawn to them when I look at some of those bigger futures props.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's weird to me because when I look at like your Super Bowl stuff, right? If everybody looks at who's going to win the Super Bowl, everybody wants to bet on those. But the fact that the Bengals are the same price as like the fucking Rams, really? I would take that's crazy. The Broncos are the same price as the Bengals. And, as much as I like Bo Nix, not on the same stratosphere as Joe Burrow, right? So, yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of these spots where it's just like, holy shit, we're way down this list. I know. I even think that the Niners at 20-1 is kind of crazy. Like that's unreal. I feel like there's just a lot of these teams that, they're getting older, right? You're trusting Kittle, you're trusting McCaffrey, right? Both guys who, are getting up there in age here a little bit. Crazy. I don't see those guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll have big years, but I just don't know if I trust those ones as much, because there's just I don't see it.
Yeah, and getting guys like Saleh back as the defensive coordinator should be good, but it's not the same defensive talent that Saleh was coaching before. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you're going to get an upgrade in that. I'm not debating that, but the talent isn't the same overpowering talent that it was when they were in their heyday, and they're going to be a good defense, no doubt about it. But yeah, Purdy had himself in MVP talks, but a lot of that, remember, it was like not fully manufactured offense, but like the system was doing a lot of the heavy lifting, And when we look at the team this year, you don't have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel out there. I mean, Ayuk's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the year at least. We're talking about Juwan Jennings, who just got back, did not have any camp until now to get ready. I guess he wanted a new contract, maybe figured that's finally not going to happen. So he's also had some injury stuff. But you're not really relying on the same level of talent. Obviously, if CMC can stay healthy, that's one thing. But it's tough. NFC is tough. I mean, the Eagles, I think, are going to win again. I would feel pretty comfortable with that, honestly. I think they're the best team. I think they have the most well-rounded roster in the league. And they're a tricky team because a lot of these guys, if a Bills lose to Josh Allen, they're out of it. They're done. It's over. You know what I mean? Like, if you lose Patrick Mahomes, it's probably over for you. I think the Eagles are still a problem, even if like Hurts goes down. They got McKee over there has been, I guess, really good in preseason and stuff. They just got my boy Sam Howell in town, I believe, this offseason as well. So I don't know. There's just that when you build so strongly on the trenches, it's hard for just one injury to take you down. We'll just have to see how that defense holds up because they were awesome last year. And if they can't be awesome this year, maybe their offense is going to have to work a little bit harder. And then some of these tricky teams, Lions, Packers, Washington, that could give them a run for their money there.
Yeah, I know. My thing is with these running backs, you see it when they get these like 250 touch seasons, like we saw, with Barkley throughout. Those. I feel like they're gonna have to pull it back, man. He's like, I know he's not that old, and he's obviously a stud. He's a beast, but it's a lot of touches, man. That's what happened to McCaffrey, right? They gave him a 250 touch season, and then your body just deteriorates, especially when you're going that deep in the playoffs. So curious how much usage there's going to be there. Like, that's why I kind of say, like, if I'm going like top rusher this year for a future, I'm probably not going to Derrick Henry or going to Barkley, right? I probably feel like I would want to sneak closer to like a 10-1 Jonathan Taylor or something like that, where I just like, I know they're not going to be leading a ton of these games, but, I don't expect, to see that type of volume again, especially when you start to see like how many touches he got last year. It kind of scares me off a little bit of betting a lot of Saquon props there throughout. But yeah, let's get started. I think we got 4 picks, 4 long shots, or I have 2 long shots, and your first one I'll let you take away right away. Isn't like a crazy long shot, but I feel like you could, if they do allow ladders in this one, I feel like this guy's kind of like the guy that you kind of want to have as your ladder guy. And I'll kick it over to you, Sue, to start us off on our first bet of the NFL season.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Calvin Ridley. If you listened yesterday, I kind of hyped him up. I've talked about him a couple times, snuck it in to some of our shows when we have talked NFL, because Calvin Ridley is like really my favorite target this offseason. A guy I absolutely fired up to bet on, to be betting during the season. I probably will not be week 1, unfortunately, with the Broncos being the matchup there and Surtain on the other side. Got to be a little bit patient, unfortunately, because no one wants to deal with that matchup. That's a pretty brutal one right there, arguably the worst in the league. But yeah, when I look at it, I mean, I was obviously looking at my best ball rostership, and I was kind of like, who are guys that I still want to be financially invested in, even if all these teams suck, even if, everything goes wrong, blah, 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 I don't make any money. Ridley was like the first guy that came to my mind, because you and me kind of agree, we're not really the biggest futures guys in the world. It's hard to tie your money up for a long time unless you really like something and you're getting a nice return. So it's hard for me to actually get to the window on these, but it really wasn't that hard for Calvin Ridley, to be honest. I mean, the guy's been really good in some pretty rough circumstances. And I honestly haven't really been the biggest Ridley fan. I bet on him a couple times. I don't have a strong opinion, here or there, but I just think when you look at everything and you look at the situation and kind of what he's dealt with these past couple of years, he's coming in off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons where he was extremely healthy. Like, he did not miss any time whatsoever. He had awful quarterback play, right? When you talk about a lot of these websites that will give you like expected fantasy points, who left the most on the table? Calvin Ridley led all receivers in expected fantasy points. And it's because he only had a 53% catch rate last year. And it's because Will Levis, who is the quarterback, had the most off-target throws of any quarterback in the league. So he had a lot of opportunity last year. But if you look at it on paper, Ridley was mostly getting like deep shots. Like he was top 5 in deep targets and 20, what was the other one? Deep targets and like 25-yard plus receptions or something like that last year. But he wasn't getting underneath stuff. He wasn't getting like the wide receiver 1 treatment, right? Because that wasn't their style of offense. They really weren't good at moving the ball like kind of slowly down the field. You now have a totally different quarterback and a guy like Cam Ward who doesn't just need to like live and die on a 40-yard deep shot. Like he can maneuver the whole field. He's used to these air raid offenses where he can hit all the quadrants of the field. Like it's pretty major to go from only relying on these kind of unreliable targets, right? He only had a 53% catch rate for a reason last year. I would highly expect that to regress out to a more normal number. Ridley's never shown like drop problems or anything like that. He's been a very consistent guy over these last couple of years. You talk about target competition, there's nothing on this team. They got Tyler Lockett, the corpse of Tyler Lockett, right? Who, I mean, I really do not have a lot of faith in. He only played in the slot in preseason. 17 of his 18 routes were from the slot. I would expect him to really be a kind of slot-only player, come out for 3 wide receiver formations. But he really showed nothing on tape last year, kind of matched the numbers. He was a non-factor, and there's a reason that I think he's going to be a non-factor again this year. You got Van Jefferson, who is also very bad, one of my least favorite wide receivers in the league. I mean, I don't think Van Jefferson is good at all. And then they got a rookie in Alec Ayomeyer, who they just drafted as well. A guy I'm also big on in best ball. I definitely am a fan of him, but you're talking about a rookie, right? Like not even a first, second, or third round rookie either. So it's one of those things where you're competing with like a fifth round rookie and the ghost of Tyler Lockett for targets right here with a quarterback that I think is going to sling the ball, because they've got Tony Pollard and they don't have anything else until at least like week 8. Spears is apparently still in a walking boot as of a week ago. I really do not have much faith that they're going to be able to run the ball 25 plus times a game. When has Tony Pollard ever been able to carry a workload like that? I just don't have any faith that they're going to be like, I think Pollard's a great fantasy pick. I think he's going to be awesome early in the season. But when you look at actually like how much you'd expect this team to run, like is Julius Chestnut going to get carries? Probably not. The fullback kind of running back fusion. They also got that Michigan running back Mullings, I believe, as well, as like a third string option. But I don't think they're really built to be a high level rushing attack. They're going to have to run. When you have a rookie quarterback, you want to protect him. You want to establish the run. That's definitely going to be a part of the offense. But as the season wears on, I don't think they're going to be able to sustain a lot of rushing. And obviously, just look at the win total. They're only expected to win 5 games. I mean, they're going to be trailing a good majority of the season this year. It's going to be passing game script. So you got a talented guy who's kind of been failed by some bad quarterback play, some inconsistent coaching. Now you get him in a situation where I think this is one of the better quarterbacks he's had to work with in a little bit. It's going to be a more consistent offense. They're going to be forced into passing game scripts. I just see so much upside for Calvin Ridley this year. And yeah, if he can stay healthy, which he's done a fantastic job with so far, I don't see why he couldn't kind of clear this number easily. I was kind of deciding between 925 yards, which is minus 110, and the 1,000 yards, which is plus money. I did like that at the end of last year, he didn't have any financial incentives or anything like that, but there were a lot of quotes. I looked it up of him saying we absolutely want to get that 1,000 yards. The coaches were going to help him out, and he did. He got it. So it was kind of good to see that even though there wasn't money on the line, there was still like a strong want to get over that hump, just personally right there, which could actually play in because it's likely they're going to be in a non-competitive game to end the season. It's likely it's not going to matter at all. So if Ridley's at 931 or 920 or something, they want to get him over the hump. They did it last year. I would expect that could be live again. So like the price tag here, I think he probably soars over this number, honestly, if he can stay healthy. I like the upside of this offense for fantasy purposes, and I think Ridley is a good bet here to have another 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, you'll see him sling too. That's the thing with Cam Ward is it doesn't matter. If it's tight coverage, it doesn't matter at all, right? And that's why I've been getting a lot of Chig as well and a lot of best ball late, just because
it's pretty free.
You don't have to pay that much. Ridley, if I can get them, I'm trying to, but they just have a couple of guys there. Those are the two dudes. That's really who they're fighting with to get jobs done on this team. And I kind of been leaning a little bit towards Cam Ward interceptions too. I'm going to probably bet that a lot as well.
I bet that's a good look.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff, but I know you're going Ridley there. I'm going to go with my lowest one as well, but my lowest one on the show is going to be plus 500. I'm going to be rolling with Seattle to win the NFC West, and I think it baffles me to see these guys as the lowest odds on DraftKings to win the division, right? Crazy, absolutely crazy to me that they are behind Arizona, plus 425 for Arizona on DraftKings. Then even with the Rams are plus 200. That's insanity, absolute insanity. You have a guy who might not even make it to week 3 with a back issue who's old, right? That defense ain't anywhere close to Seattle, right? Seattle's defense is loaded right now, dude. They are absolutely loaded. And my thing with Seattle here is they obviously we talked about McDonald yesterday because we're obviously both big fans of McDonald there, but also on top of that, they added a few new pieces to that spot. Am I lagging on you, Stu?
A little bit, but I can still hear you.
I'm seeing if can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Are you
just my dog ended up coming underneath and hit my power cord. So yeah. Now I'm good. My dog just came underneath and hit the power cord. Now he just went over to the bed. So of course does it when I have to start talking, right? That's what happens always. But obviously Byron Murphy, love him in the middle, right? We're going to have him. They got Lawrence, I believe they signed in the offseason as well. We talked about that secondary. That secondary is loaded. I don't know if it's Legion of Boom loaded, but it's up there. It's a good secondary. I think it's going to be a tough spot for a team like the Rams. How are they going to match up with them when you have to run the ball significantly? You have to run it almost every time with those guys because they're going to be able to match two high-end receivers, right? And that's really what the Rams are going to throw at you, right? I think it's cool that they put the Niners week 1 and the Niners in the last week for Seattle. I think that's huge. I think that's going to be a big game for it. I think that might be what it comes down to, right? And if I had to rely on any of these guys, like I'm going to put my money on McDonald right now. That team came out firing with, not that great of pieces last year, and they turned it around. That second half of the season, that defense was awesome, and now we get to see it again. I talked about it yesterday, being a huge JSN guy. I talked about both running backs, and I feel like this is a way for me to play all my love for those guys in a long shot that doesn't require me to put money on just one single guy. So I feel like to win the division plus 500 is pretty wild. I didn't check anywhere else. I just used DraftKings for this just because I wanted to, put that out there. I'm going to be doing that and putting 5-1 is crazy to me. Just absolutely crazy to me. I know you kind of felt the same sentiment on the wins. I'm going to play the win total as well, Taylor, and you on that. I know you played that as well, but I'm not paying plus 180 on the Niners, right? There's too many question marks with who they throwing it to, right? When is Ayuk going to be back? When are we going to get everybody here? When is Juwan Jennings going to actually want to play football again, right? There's so many question marks there. There's question marks on Matthew Stafford's health, and I don't want to have to worry about Kyler Murray and that Cardinals team. That Cardinals team, I'll never bet on them. I will never bet a future on them to do well. So you look at the question marks here, I feel like this is the one where I feel like if I'm going to bet one, I want to bet the longest odds on it. And plus 500, I feel like is a little bit too crazy for me not to bet.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this division, for me, I see the best coach division in the league. I think across the board, I think every coaching staff has a lot of strengths. When you look at the Cardinals, taking a lot of like bad players and turning them into a solid unit is really impressive. Seattle, like I said yesterday, I think McDonald is like the most creative defensive guy in the league. When you think of what these like Mike McDaniel, Sean McVays can do on offense, I think that's what he does on defense. Super fun to watch. Like even if you don't know like film, like it's just fun to watch what they do. And as you learn more, I think you kind of buy into it more, and obviously they infused it with more talent this offseason. The question mark is just what are they going to do on offense? In my opinion, they're going to try to run the ball 30 times a game. I think we're going to see both backs pretty often. I think we're going to see some JSN over the middle, some easy, short yardage stuff. But I think they're going to try to let the defense speak for themselves. Yes. I think that's the style of play that they're going to have. Someone in the chat put it, is Sam Darnold going to survive? That's the question. The offensive line is kind of the swing for this team. They drafted that first rounder. The news has been really good out of camp. One of the most hyped guys that you see, not just from Seattle media, but like national media in terms of people that impress. So that would be a big help. They need him to be an instant contributor. If the O-line could be middle of the pack, I think they can be a winning team this year. I think that's kind of the swing squad on this team, I guess, is that O-line. If they can perform to expectation, everyone counted out Sam Darnold, forgetting what he did for the whole regular season. Like, I mean, the guy's
he sucked ass in 3 games.
He's not the best quarterback in the league, right? But is he a downgrade from like Geno Smith? I feel like they're kind of on the same level.
Yeah,
Geno can make some better plays when Geno gets in a dome. That's when Geno pops off, But like overall, I don't think you're downgrading that much. Obviously, DK Metcalf is the big kind of loss in the wide receiver room. So JSN will have to take that next step, and then we'll see if like Horton, who's got all the camp buzz in the world, if he can come out and be a real player from Colorado. And then they've got Jake Bobo, who I don't mind is like a deep threat kind of contested catch guy as well. I think both of those names could end up being important for this team. So I'm with you. I think it's not likely, the odds say it for a reason.
Yeah, but this is like a plus 500 for
any team can win. Like when you look at this, I think any team could win this division. I think all of them are live for different reasons. Then yeah, give me the guys on the bottom that I don't think should be priced that, poorly. I'm with you. I think it's a solid bet. I think, yeah, San Francisco is a favorite for a reason, but 1 or 2 injuries, they already have injuries. They're 1 or 2 away from looking like kind of the same thing they were last year. We saw it last year. There were some bad stretches there. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Cardinals will be solid, but I think like the Cardinals are a team that they can beat and lose to anyone on any given weekend. And I need to see any semblance of consistency from Kyler Murray before like I really put any faith in them. Because I thought like when I looked at the division, I'm like, who do I want to back here? You can make some okay arguments for the Cardinals. I just think you can make a lot better ones for Seattle. I would flip their odds, to be honest, even though I get Kyler Murray and McBride and Marvin Harrison is the like flashy offense. It's what you want to get behind from a fantasy perspective, 100%. But from a real life winning games perspective, if that Seattle defense can be as good as we think it is, I mean, I think they're going to give Kyler Murray all the troubles in the world.
Oh my God. I feel so bad for him in those games, bro.
He's going to be on Madden. Like, these aren't the same guys. Who's Nick Moriarty? I don't know. He's not on Madden yet. Like, it's going to throw him off.
Well, and the fact they signed Cooper Kupp, too, to try to fill a little bit of the void there. I know he's not anywhere close to when he was, big-time Cooper Kupp.
It's a wild card.
But he could be still pretty good. It's just he was like, I know JSN's the one here, but, like, he ain't Puka Nacua one, right? So we could see, that big step up there. The thing is Tyrone said Seattle is not going to win the NFC West. The thing is that's what the odds are telling me too. Like they're giving me like a 10% chance that they win it. But I would take them over Arizona because guess what? Those fuckers going to lose to Tennessee, bro. They're going to find a way to lose to them. And that's just how they are, dude. They show up in the big games and then usually lose it at the end. And then against the shitty teams they're supposed to smoke, they always find a way to, shit the bed. So I saw Shane messaged in the chat. I'll try and give you the best synopsis here. So we did a best ball yesterday on the show. It's pretty much just a one-day thing. It's like a 30 minutes, 40 minutes. You do your draft, and then your team, whatever your best score is from that week, go in. It's just like an optimal lineup type of thing. I think it goes for like 13 weeks or 14 weeks on DraftKings, and then it's just it tournament styles every single time. So I think it's top 2 of your 12-person fantasy league. If you're a top 2, you make it to the next round, and obviously the money starts going up and up. But it's just like an optimal lineup. Think about it like that. And then you just have to hopefully you have a really good draft. And honestly, the thing with best ball is you just got to pray for no injuries. If you can get through with having your whole team playing and giving you opportunities, that's all you can really ask for by the end of the year because that's really what kills you.
Yep, I think you nailed it. It's just fantasy football, but take out all the waivers and all that stuff and just draft. You're drafting a team. The best players pull through. If they get injured, you're fucked. It's how it is. It's a tournament, or you can play cash games as well. You can play just the small ones. I do some of those just because I like drafting and it's safer. You can win, 30, 40, $50 and risk only losing like 3, which is nice. But yeah, it's upside drafting. And yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it's just, we talked about it here yesterday. You just got to know that there's a difference between drafting best ball and drafting year long. They're very different. The people you're looking for are completely different. It's just a tough spot on there. I have not. Jake's saying, have you guys been following? I have not followed any of that. I have no idea. I didn't follow any of it. I don't live in Illinois. Before my book here, before they opened up a live book here, I would sometimes go there, but I haven't been in Illinois outside of Wrigley Field twice in the last year, so I haven't really gone down there. But I have no idea what that would be. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, they got fucked pretty much. It's like bad news. There's new taxes going in. Different sports books are addressing it in different ways on the consumer. I saw someone make a post. I don't know where it is, but pretty much now you're gonna have to pay like a little tax on your bets, like essentially. I don't know what the exact numbers are. Like I said, I saw different sports books announced it different ways on how it's gonna. I saw like Circa is doing no fee at all. Obviously, Circa is a sharp book that's in Illinois as well on any bet over $10. I believe they're not going to, I don't think, allow bets under $10 anymore there. But yeah, you just need to look and see what sportsbook is doing what, but it's definitely not good. It's definitely bad news. And obviously we need to hope, no offense for you guys, you're already fucked, but that it doesn't spread beyond that, because like you said, it does. If you are trying to seriously make money, it is going to cut into your projected earnings. And obviously, like you said, you'll need a higher edge to earn. So I haven't looked. It doesn't affect me. I'm sorry that it does affect you, obviously. But I'm not sure how you can best approach that right now. I'm sure there's some content tailored towards that, but it is a bummer. And I would just say you probably need to, I would assume, focus on less bet slips if it's a per bet tax that you're getting now, and more, solo bets, I guess, with more money on it. That's probably how I'd look at it short term, but it's definitely a shitty situation. And I would seek out content for people dealing with that, because it's not, in my wheelhouse right now.
Yeah. I'm just very happy that they finally, opened some up on the reservations here. So I don't have to worry about having to go to Illinois and placing anything there. But yeah, on a little higher note, we can get to some more plus money spots here. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. I don't think I saw anything else in the chat. Let me see. Tyrone bringing up the Bengals. 5.5 seems too low. We will talk about week 1 stuff on Friday. That will be all of those. Interesting. Tyrone said Seattle wasn't going to win, but then was bashing the Niners. So I'm curious.
Well, he said he's a Niners guy.
He is a Niners fan. That's what's funny. And he's a Niners fan. So I'm curious who he thinks is going to win. Obviously, I assume you're a little biased there. No, you have a 10-person, 11-person bench, and then they just rotate through.
It picks who does the best on the bench. Anyone, it's all just one squad, and they're all live to play any week, whoever does the best.
Yeah. Maybe we didn't post it. I thought I was going to post it yesterday, just me and Stu's draft from yesterday. You can kind of see that that all of ours are, one team, and it's all together, and they just rotate whoever makes the best one. So, Stu, you ready for yours? Ready for play number 2? We had 28 of you guys here with us over on YouTube. We appreciate you. If you could hit that like button, we'd obviously really appreciate it. It helps us out. And let's kick it over to you for your long shot.
Sounds good. Yeah, we got Jacksonville to win the AFC South plus 300. This is a good price, in my opinion, looking at it. I get Jacksonville has not been my favorite team over these last couple of years either. I feel like I'm like that about a lot of my futures. It's teams that I kind of fell in love with, the situation and the opportunity. It's not guys I've historically been fans of, but obviously I think they're in a situation right now where it's kind of do or die. You just added in a new guy in Liam Cohen, who just had an awesome season. If you look at the media reports, they're through the roof. People seemingly around the league love this guy. There's a lot of respect for what he's able to do in terms of creativity on offense. The real question, I guess, is then how does an offensive guy, manage the defense as well? It's questions that a couple different teams with new coaches are going to have to handle. I do think, though, a lot of the upside you're betting on with Jacksonville is captured on the offense, not the defense. I think their defense will probably be middle of the road, and that would probably be a solid outcome. They could definitely see themselves kind of falling a little bit. They don't have any standout amazing ceiling raisers like Parsons, that are just going to dominate, but they are a solid defense overall. But I think what we're kind of betting on here, what we're trying to capture with the upside, is what could happen right with this offense. And with Trevor Lawrence in the best situation he's ever been in, with a pretty solid running back room with multiple options that have performed well in camp. You got Brian Thomas Jr., one of the best young wide receivers in the league, an absolute tank down the field. Now you add in Travis Hunter, another very explosive option. Maybe not your traditional alpha wide receiver 1 on the outside, but what he's able to do in space as just a natural athlete, very good. If his route running gets better, I mean, which I would expect it to at the NFL level, maybe not immediately, but as the season goes on, like this is an explosive offense. I think they already were able to generate explosive plays at a high rate last year with kind of a shittier situation around them. I think when you look at it and you kind of look at what tools they have on offense right now, I think this is a team that's going to be able to pass the ball successfully. I think they're going to be able to compete in their division well, because that's really the biggest weakness here. This is probably the weakest division. I guess maybe you could look at the Saints, over there. Maybe they're a little bit worse overall because you have the Texans at the top of this division. I would say, though, like the Texans are probably the weakest favorite out of anyone. CJ Stroud comes out, awesome rookie season. Got a lot of regression after that. And when you look at it, their offense was like so predictable. They wanted to run the ball on every first and second down, and then CJ had to bail him out on third down. And during his rookie season, he could do it sometimes. Other times he could not. And last year it was really shown. What have they done to address that is my concern, because there's no more Joe Mixon anymore. Instead, we have Nick Chubb coming off of what could look like a career-ending injury for a guy at his age, trying to battle back from it. We got Dameon Pierce in the backfield now, and then we got rookie Woody Marks. Like, when you look at what they're able to do behind an offensive line that was one of the worst in the league, and then traded Laramie Tunsil, who was their best player. Obviously, Tunsil does have his problems with false starts, but by any metric, easily their best offensive lineman. I don't see how this offense can successfully put CJ Stroud in good positions. Like, even new coordinator, whatever, like, I don't see how you can get the ball to Nico Collins consistently, how you can pass the ball down the field and take advantage of some of those big plays if you have an awful offensive line and no threat of a running game whatsoever. Like, I think it's just going to be a lot of cover two, a lot of shell defenses, and I'm not concerned about their offense. So their defense is going to be good. DeMeco Ryans, he's great. He's a great defensive guy. He's going to continue to be a good defensive guy. They'll be a good defensive team. There's no doubt about that. But once again, when we get down to the end of the season and we're playing to get in the playoffs, right? When you don't have that much offensive upside, when a team like Jacksonville could be firing on all cylinders, offense looking good, I think they can give anyone in this division a run for their money. I'm really not too concerned about the Colts. I think people in my Discord got mad at me because I was saying Daniel Jones like increases their floor this season. I feel like that's a pretty not hot take. Like, I know people love to hate on Daniel Jones, and he does suck. Like, I don't want to try to defend him too much. Daniel Jones can't throw the ball reliably beyond 20 yards. Like, he can't get the ball down the field, right? So what this team is going to do is they're going to use that pretty solid offensive line. They're going to use that good running back they have, and they're going to use Daniel Jones' mobility, and they're going to run the ball a shit ton, and then they're going to dump it down to Tyler Warren and Josh Downs. That's the game plan this year. And honestly, I think that's a solid enough game plan to get you like 8 wins. Now, I don't know what the point of doing this is in the grander scheme of things, because you're not developing a quarterback. Daniel Jones is not the long-term option. I essentially think starting Daniel Jones is just wasting a year. And I don't really understand what the point of that is. But he sure as hell will be better than Anthony Richardson, who can't complete 10 passes a game. Like, I get that you could try to develop Richardson. I would probably still try to do that, because it's like, I don't get the point of starting Daniel Jones, because I think you can win 8 games. I think you can run the ball a lot. I think you can be a solid, mediocre team. But when it comes to these important games, when it becomes actually winning a division, you got to drive down and win in the fourth quarter. I don't think they can do any of those things. I don't think there's any upside for that whatsoever, which is what you'd hope a young guy like Richardson has. He just needs to put all the pieces together. So the Colts are just too much of a mess for me. I don't see upside. I see a floor now. I see 7-8 wins. I see surprising people and making a couple upsets this year. I don't see playoffs. I don't see upside, and I don't see any reason to bet them to win the division. In fact, I'd rather take the Titans. Cam Ward, new situation, new coaching. I don't think they have enough firepower. I like my guy Ridley. I like Pollard. I don't think they have enough firepower yet, but I think they'll also hang around and compete this year. But for me personally, it's a weak division. There's not a lot of competition. I think this could be Lawrence's back is against the wall. If you don't perform this year, by all accounts, it's kind of over for you. And he just worked with a guy in Baker Mayfield who was kind of in that same position. Top pick, supposed to be a savior, did not happen immediately. Well, now you got a guy that knows what that's like. He can put you in a position to succeed. You have some great weapons. Brian Thomas Jr. is fucking awesome. Like, that guy's so fun to watch. When you look at adding a guy like Hunter next to him, they have some young guys. Well, Parker Washington, I think, is very underrated out of the slot. Like, I think this team can do some damage this year. I think they can put up some numbers. And I think they can sneakily compete in a very weak division. So plus 300, it was kind of like, yeah, I want to support these guys. It's not a big bet, quarter unit, half unit kind of action, but I want to get some action in on Jacksonville this year.
Yeah, and they're going to be a fun team. A lot of people are going to be watching them, obviously, with Travis Hunter there. And, don't mind the price either. That's the biggest thing is you got to look at the price. There's a reason why they're at this number. But, again, do you want to trust the guys ahead of them? Talking about shitty offensive line, I know our guy Houston's got a fucking horrible offensive line. Dude.
That's
horrible,
brutal.
So talk about building teams through the trenches. That is not a team that did that very well. So that's just another feather in the cap there to get that number. I'm gonna do one that I don't know, man. I have to do it. It's too big, and I understand why Joe Burrow is the favorite. Obviously, I know you got two absolute monster weapons. In Chase and Higgins there. But I'm getting plus 800, bro. 8-1 on Dak Prescott. I think they're going to be behind in almost every game, right? You look at Burrow as those two are far and away the top two numbers. Mahomes is the third or fourth. What the hell are we like? I feel like it's those two. That's it. Those are the only two guys, in my opinion, that have a chance to actually win this number because their defenses are bad, first off. If I have to look at Cincy, they got Chase Brown. Like, that's an actual running back, like an actual quality NFL running back. Javonte Williams has yet to stay fully healthy or not get benched in a season, right? You go down the list, like Jaden Blue didn't mind him in college, but I don't think he's really ready to take that step to being a starting NFL running back. Miles Sanders, your guess is as good as mine. I know he's been in the league forever. I have no idea what the fuck's going on with that one. But, like, Is this possible for him to throw the ball 50 times a game? I think that is very possible in for these guys. Dak got hurt at the end of last year. He was obviously still throwing the ball all around. Ferguson was out for how many weeks? Now we got him fully healthy. You got CD, probably the most talked about wide receiver this year, at the opportunity to being the number one receiving yards guy. And then you add a guy like an actual deep threat guy in Pickens, and I mean, I know you're a Turpin guy. I know he's still there too. If you want to go deep, I know he's your boy.
I'm glad you said it,
bro. He can just do screens. That dude is so good in the open field, dude. And whichever one you want. The dude's got
kick return rules. He's gonna be a beast this year. I'm just saying, Turpin. If underdog counted special teams touchdowns, my boy Turpin would be 100% owned. They don't, so it's not going to happen, but I love Turpin. He can take a screen pass and take it 80 yards. Yeah. He's literally Tyreek Hill speed. He just can't do anything else, but good unit for, a wide receiver 4 or whatever,
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm looking down these lists, and I'm looking down at, Cleveland, obviously. They're playing in the first week at Cleveland there, and then, like, games outside as well. And in these tough environments, right? And I looked at their schedule. Dallas gets very lucky because they get the Bears in September in Chicago. They're not having to play in the snow there, right? And then when they do decide, okay, let's play in the snow and we get some cold games, it's Washington and New York, right? Yeah. Washington's going to be a shootout, right? They're going to shoot out with them. More than welcome. I know they love it. Like that's great. They're probably going to win in a shootout like that. And then the Giants ain't stopping nobody. Like, that's their two late games that they have to worry about it because they get the Chargers at home, they have the Vikings at home, and then they're playing the Lions. That's a shootout game in a dome. You don't have to travel to Kansas City. You get Kansas City in a dome at Dallas, right? All of these games that would be like the snow games and the cold games that I'd be, like, worried about where they're like, maybe it takes them away, right? Takes a little bit. They're getting them in Dallas, dude. All those late home games where they're going to have to push it and try to win it. I'm not putting it in the hands of the running back, bro. I'm giving it to Dak. I'm having him throw 50 times, and there's just very few teams that have the ability to lead like this and have a volume like that. And to me, it's those two. And I'm not paying half the price for Joe Burrow when I can get double the price here on Dak. And I mean, I know his weapons aren't as good at the high end, but he does have quite a few, right? He does have Pickens, he does have Lamb, and I'm a huge Ferguson guy. It might be just because I'm a Badger, right? I love all my Badger guys there. They got Shoemaker too, who played a decent amount at the end of the year last year. but I just don't trust any of their running backs, and they have a decent offensive line. I think we have the opportunity to get a big number here from Dak. I have so much in best ball. I'm really hoping that he gets those 300-yard games ad nauseum here.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, you kind of nailed it. Like, Burrow's the favorite, and then they're just like the budget Bengals. Like, that's literally what their team is. Shit defense. I mean, all offense, great weapons, two of the best options you can have in the league, and CD and Pickens right next to each other. Like, it's the same philosophy of, I mean, maybe they were going to have a couple of defensive stops with Parsons. Probably not happening anymore. Like, their defense is not going to be good. It's going to be a shootout team, like you said, and they already were last year. It's probably going to happen again. I mean, they can't run. It's kind of what I was saying with the Texans. Even if you want to run, who? It's not going to be fucking Miles Sanders. I liked Blue in college, but he profiles more of like a scat back. Like,
yeah, exactly. And that's fine. I'll take him on third downs, a little short underneath. Yep.
But he's not going to run the ball for more than like 30 yards a game, you know, that's not what you'd want from him. Like, if anyone, Phil Maffa, who got injured, at least Phil Maffa carried the ball 20 times a game in college. I don't think Maffa's the best. He's a grinder, but I think he could contribute. And I honestly, just because he's like the unknown in this, like, I'd almost rather take him over Javonte. Javonte had more catches than fucking God last year and couldn't do anything with it. He was so inefficient. The burst isn't there. Maybe another year after injury, he can get back to okay, but I don't know, man. It's such an ugly rushing attack that how could you bet anything else? I loved it when Dak was so free in the beginning of the year. People kind of caught on because he was just priced as like bad pocket passer, no rushing upside, whatever, which just gets you pushed back in best ball and fantasy and stuff. Dak is my starter on 2 of my 3 season-long fantasy teams as well. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't take him. You know what I mean? I see the passing upside. They can't run, even if they want to. Schottenheimer sucks. He's probably going to be bad. That's my opinion. Even if he wants to run the ball a day, how is that possibly going to work? You're just going to be down 14-0 and go, okay, now we have to throw the ball. So, good luck with Javonte Williams. But, yeah, it's all going to be on Dak's shoulder. The only issue is, what if injury? Like, what if he gets hurt? Like, I don't know. The guy, they might ask him to throw a billion times. Maybe we get a shoulder sprain or something. But if he can stay healthy, I think it's his to lose, honestly.
Yeah, and getting him at this price is great. And then I know we were talking a little bit there just on all those shootouts, right? But it's like, who wouldn't want to shoot out with the Cowboys, bro? Because you have you don't have to really worry about pass rush. Parsons was their entire pass rush last year. Now, I mean, Kenny Clark, the one thing he does do is he plugs up the middle, and maybe that means the other teams have to pass more, and they just cook that defense, and we just get the game going, right? Because Kenny Clark, he does do a good job at just eating up 2 dudes in the middle. He is very good at that and making it a little grimy in there. So that could help out a ton too, because losing Micah Parsons is that's massive, right? That's absolutely massive to your pass rush in those late games. Yeah,
by every single most important defensive metric, he is the most impactful defensive player on versus off the field. Like, it is what it is. You lose a guy like that, it's gonna fucking hurt no matter how much. You can improve the run defense. That was a problem, sure, but that you got bigger problems than that coming.
No, for 100% agree. 100% agree. So, all right, let's do a quick recap here, Stu, and then we'll get out of here. We got 16 of you guys still in here. 50 minutes in. I'll kick it over to you, Stu, to start us off.
Sounds good. Yeah, drop any quick questions if you have them before we get out of here. I saw the Survivor one. I'll get to that in a second. We got Jacksonville to win the AFC South plus 300, back in the Jaguars. Liam Cohen to have a nice little surprisingly good season this year, and maybe even sneak their way in the playoffs as well. Then we got Calvin Ridley, 1,000 receiving yards, plus 130 DraftKings. Yeah, 9. If you don't have the 1,000-yard like ladder or whatever, 925 is the base. I would just play that as well. But I like the little plus money here, and yeah, I like back in Ridley.
Awesome. I'm gonna be rolling with Seattle to win the NFC West at plus 500, the lowest odds of anybody in the division out there. Rolling with my boy McDonald out there, and then I'm playing Dak at plus 800 top passing yard. I think it's 650 on DK, but luckily for me, I have access to Rivers, and that's what I use mostly. And they're giving me plus 800. So definitely we'll take it. Stu, anything else for the people today? Obviously, I guess we don't really have to say too much because we'll be back tomorrow, but anything you want to say?
Yeah, the last future I want to defend here is I want to defend my Washington Commanders honor before we get out of here. I just saw they're only minus 122 to make the playoffs. I just saw that right before the show started. It's on FanDuel. I had to play some of that. Washington is the most faded team in the league this year. Every smart person or relatively smart or person with the following is posting the under. We're going to see regression. And it's for two reasons, right? It's because they were the most efficient fourth down team of all time last year. Insane. Probably not going to happen again. And then they won close games at a pretty insane rate. They had the Hail Mary against the Bears. I just want to say my quick counter argument to that is so simple. It's so simple. It's that when we think about the preseason expectations for Washington last year, the win total was at 7.5. Nobody expected this team to do anything. They were projected to be third in their division. They had a roster full of old free agents, right, that were not really high end or notable. And yet, still, because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league from the second he stepped on the field, they overperformed expectations at an insane rate. And obviously, are they going to be, the best fourth down team of all time? Probably not. No, there's no way you're going to only miss, one or two fourth down conversions next year. Obviously, you're going to see regression. You're probably going to drop one of those two close games that you won last year. But you got to think that was an offseason of just trying to piece up something for the future. This is an offseason for trying to win. Every single move. Laramie Tunsil, Deebo Samuel. Last year, we had to bet on Noah Brown a bunch of times. We had to bet on fucking Diami Brown, who had 200 career yards before the season started. Last year was development. This year is winning. So sure, is there going to be regression on some of those spots? Yes. But I think this is a team that is built to win. I think they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And at essentially even money, almost minus 110-ish range to make the playoffs, I think Washington's going to be there. And I think they're going to be a pain in the ass for anyone that plays them. So like that number. Caught me off guard. I think it should be a little higher than that. I get the arguments. I think at this point, they're just kind of autopilot. They're easy talking points, but I think there's a lot of logical counters you can make on the improvements they've made and actually trying to win this year that I think are going to balance that out a little bit.
Yeah, shout out to Washington for putting Eckler as number one on their depth chart. I saw that. That just sucks now. If any best ball I do for the rest of the year, I'm going to have to fucking pay that price. That's why everybody taking what JSM. What is his? How do you whatever fucking say his last name?
JCM.
Yeah. What the fuck? I just passed the shit out of that dude now. I'm feeling so great about fading him because he went up to 80s. He was in the 80s, 90s, and I'm like, I have 2 shares in the 150s, and it goes up to 80 because they're like, okay, we got rid of Brian Robinson. Now it's like, oh, Eckler, sorry, oh shit.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, it falls back to 150 and I'll grab him again. But I doubt that.
Nah, it's too late. The season starts tomorrow. I mean, these little depth charts, I think, are mostly for show because they're all unofficial depth charts, So we'll see. I think Eckler will get a couple carries, but he'll do the third down thing. I think Chris Rodriguez will get the first snap of the game probably, which will anger people. And then I think we'll see them all mix in. I think it'll just be ugly for fantasy. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. I think they'll all be unstartable for a while. But JCM is the only one that might be startable come playoffs outside of Eckler, I think. I don't think Rodriguez has that longevity, But we'll see. It's an interesting situation. I was a Brian Thomas Jr. hater for a while. Or not Brian Thomas Jr., Brian Robinson, hater for a long time. So I'm happy to see the new situation. And yeah, I just think they're a little underrated. I get all the negatives. I don't think I have rose-colored glasses right here. I just think, they're kind of talking points at this point. And I think there's some real solid arguments you can make that might cancel that out. So win total's a bit high. I don't know if they're going to win 10. It might be at 9 there. It might be a little sweaty. But I think to make the playoffs is where I want to go. And honestly, I'll probably like them in the playoffs too. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, mine's interesting too because the Packers are now favored to win the division. I still don't know how I feel about that. They're passing the line significantly now, which is kind of.
What is it now? What's the price?
It's 175 on the Packers, 195 I think on the Lions. I think my biggest issue with the Lions is losing both coordinators, bro. That's, people don't talk about that as much, but that's huge, man. Everybody's saying the Bears are gonna be good because of that coordinator. Well, the Bears weren't that good, dude. They weren't that good. Now we're gonna hopefully. I mean, you'll see a little bit of a turnaround, but that's also leaving the Lions there. And I'm curious what they're going to do offensively and obviously defensively, most importantly, because Glenn, obviously, with the Jets there. Makes things a little bit crazier, too.
100%. Yeah, that whole division is going to be a shit show right there. And I see last question Professor T got in. He said thoughts on rookie Harvey on Denver. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't take him that much in like fantasy or anything just because like there is late season upside with the pass catching. Harvey was good in college. He's also a real old prospect as well when you look at it. Like had some injury stuff throughout his own college career as well. I just think they were the hardest team to bet last year. After like week 6, I was like, I'm not betting a Denver running back. Like I'm just not going to do it. And I was so happy the rest of the year, not even having to think about that bullshit. I think it's going to be bullshit again this year. I mean, I think they're going to mix and match a little bit. I think it's going to be annoying. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be more involved than people hope he is. And yeah, I like Harvey. I'm curious what he could do. We know Sean Payton can feed guys pass catching. That could be a plus for him. It's just like maybe props later in the season, but I don't really want to bet on him early in the season. And then for fantasy, I just never really got to him in his range that he was at.
Yeah, I don't have really much Harvey as well. I think I have 1 or 2 shares, but in the grand scheme of things, that's obviously not very much. Anything else from you, Stu, before we get out of here?
No, it's fun. Like I said, I'll have Substack props up later today. I think I'll probably have my first props of the season posted in a little bit. And yeah, just excited, ready to go, ready to come back here tomorrow, talk some primetime games, our first official games of the year, and it'll finally be time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's getting to that time, dude. And I'm obviously excited to break it down with you, and hopefully continue to put out some winners here. So appreciate you guys tuning in for year 4 starting. And hopefully we'll get you guys some winners tomorrow for the first day of the season, right? First day of the season. So excited for that. And hopefully we'll be able to give you guys some winners for what is the second game is the Chiefs-Chargers, right? Chiefs-Chargers, I think, is Friday night.
Friday, yeah.
So that'd be cool. That'd be cool to have games on both of them. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck. Yes, thank you, Professor T. We appreciate you. Hit that like button for us. It goes a long way. And we will catch you guys tomorrow.